I'm Sori.
And we're about to do a classic. This is Metallica, Disposable Heroes. Very, very excited to get into this. This is the heaviest song of all time, ever. There's never been a song even remotely close to this song in
The last time you built up a song, I didn't like it.
What song was that? We did OTEP. We built that up. You were fine with that.
Yeah, but remember that song that you were like, the kitty song?
Well, yeah, it was one song. I mean, you were off on one song. I mean, it happens. But
I wasn't off at all.
But this one though, this is the heaviest song of all time. Disposable Heroes. It's off the Master of Puppets record. So I'm pretty excited. We got these bootleg headphones, which I'm going to solve that problem tomorrow. Hit it.
You blind man.
Whoa, that
Done.
was the heaviest for sure.
Done.
That
For
was
sure.
for sure the heaviest.
For sure.
Wow.
Back to the front.
Wow, that had some good music.
Back to
in
the
it.
front. Told you that shit was heavy, man.
a really good one. I liked the drumming in it too.
Yeah, Lars
Drumming
played his ass off in that one.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Very like the second verse.
Wow.
He was. I mean, they went all out on
Yeah,
it.
they did.
Like there's nothing that's ever in metal history been as heavy as this song. From start to the finish, just like right out the gate, bang, bang. It's unbelievable.
It was like
song.
10% in where I was like, oh, okay, this is really good.
In
The beginning, I was kind of like, okay, where is it going to be?
Kirk's solo, that solo was insane. Kirk was getting his Jimi Hendrix on with that solo. It was an unbelievable solo. And one of the best solos in metal history, almost never gets talked about.
Wow.
It was an insane, they just all went off. Hetfield went off, everybody went off in this song. Shout out
There's
to
one
the big
part I
homie.
just closed my eyes and sucked my lip, let myself get sucked in.
It
really
was,
heavy.
that was during Kurt's solo.
Yeah, that was
Kirk-
really, really good. I was
Kirk's
wondering if
solo
that's
was
what it
insane. That was the first time I've ever heard a solo that was heavy. That shit was heavy, like you just wanted to rock.
Yeah, no, that was really good.
Then he went. Oh man, this song is insane, insane.
It was like an over 8-minute song, but it still felt like it was only 4 minutes, but it felt like it was a good amount of time. Like usually 4-minute songs feel like too short.
Yeah,
But this one didn't feel like it was too short. It felt like it was the right amount of time, but I didn't feel like it was going on forever. It was really good.
this song was insane.
The words are kind of crazy. Kind of feel bad for the guy, you know?
Yeah. This is something where if I get the chance to talk to OTEP about, that'd be a very good conversation. But
Really?
the speaking out against, the commentary on social issues, Metallica, the Ride the Lightning record, the Master of Puppets record, obviously the Justice for All record, like in each record they talked about some aspect of war.
Yeah.
So like For Whom the Bell Tolls, that's coming at some point. But this song is talking about war and how disposable certain members of a given society are, but then they're your heroes, right? Like, that's like, and it goes with the whole Master of Puppets theme, because you can see like in the picture
It looked like it was God's hands. Like
What?
you scroll down, there was a picture on the side.
well, yeah, there's a picture on the side of like a
It looks like big hands from the sky that have,
yeah. Here the hands look a lot more sinister
yeah.
because it's in the red.
Yeah.
But like one of the themes of Master of Puppets is here the Master of Puppets song is about drug addiction and the person's being controlled by drug addiction.
Yep.
Here, and it's basically to your death, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I will help you die. I will watch you die, or whatever. But then this one is about a soldier who is basically being, puppet
Yeah.
on a string. Like
Yep.
he has no autonomy. He has
No.
there's nothing he can do to control it. He's getting sent to the front to kill and to die.
Yep, and don't even care about it. And it was crazy because obviously they're in control of him, and then at the end when he's dying, it said something like,
Life planned out before my birth.
nope. It made it sound like, where is it? Right here. Finished here, greetings, death. He's yours to take away. So it was like they had it, and then they said, okay, to death. Now he's yours to take away. So he was never himself, even as he was dying.
He never belonged to
Yeah,
himself.
never. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he served us well. When it said now an empty shell, do you think that was a double with like when you shoot, like there's like the shells are left.
Right.
It was his body that was being talked about.
Right. Very good catch. Empty shell. Yeah. He was. Yeah. When you that's a really good catch. But yeah, he's an empty shell now.
Yeah.
That's true.
But as you make empty shells, you become an empty shell too. But it's also, I know that they're talking about he's an empty shell as his spirit is leaving him. But crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy.
It's sad when he said, "Why am I dying?"
Yeah. kill, have no fear.
I bet that there's got to be kind of like a feeling like that, like as your life is slipping away from you, like because you don't have any control over that, and you're being, you're going. That's it.
Yeah, biblically speaking, when you were going to war, you would line up, and it was basically, if you were afraid to go to war, in the law in the Old Testament, they just send you back home.
Always?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought that there was only certain stories where that happened.
No, it's in Deuteronomy. It's just standard procedure.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they line you up, and it says, "Is any man afraid? Leave now." And basically, don't spread your fear mongering through the ranks, because you'll destroy the esprit de corps. So go home. And then it was like, "Are you recently married? Go home so you can be with your wife, because you might not make it home." So it was like this: we're going to war, but then you had the decision as the individual as to whether or not you were going to go fight. And so this concept of like drafting, I think a lot of this is like Vietnam's in the background, right? This was in '86, so Vietnam was like 20 years previous, which it's 2018 right now. So like we're coming on like 3 years to where 9/11 would be 20 years, right? So I think Vietnam is in the mindset, and of course, and for a drafted soldier, it's like, why am I dying?
Yeah.
I didn't sign up to go fight. Like, what's this whole thing for? Half these guys don't even, the Viet Cong, like, why are they bad? Oh, they're communists, sure. Like, we don't know anything. Like, but in the Old Testament sort of just war theory, it was sort of like, it was an all-volunteer army, and even if you volunteered, before you went to actually go out and fight and march, you could pull back if you wanted to.
Well, yeah, but they could kind of do that because God was fighting their battles for them. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah.
God was going to have them win regardless of how many people stayed. So then they kind of had that chance to be able to say, I'm not going. But where nowadays we don't know if we're fighting a just war or a righteous war. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I think like if I was to die in World War II, like I would know why I'm dying. Yep. It's like these motherfuckers are trying to take over the world and fuck shit up. And if I don't die for this cause, then the Nazis are going to take over the world. Yeah. This dude just marched into Poland and they're tearing shit up over there. So, like, that's a war where, like, you go in there, you know why you're dying, you know why you're killing. But Vietnam, it's one of those wars where it's like, why are you doing it? Yeah. And especially if you're a drafted soldier, forget it.
Draft is kind of a crazy thing, huh?
Oh, it's an insane concept.
I never, it was normalized in my mind.
Yeah, the draft is an insane concept.
You may or may not get drafted, but...
Yeah, and it's, still possible. You turn 18, you sign up for selective services, as a male in America. Yeah. It's really crazy shit, and you're... I think now, it's different, because there's this whole concept of terrorism and the wars that are being fought are just, it's completely different. Like, there almost isn't even a front line anymore because you're right, engaging in guerrilla warfare. Right. So it's not like, back to the front. Although Vietnam, that was the inception of a big giant, machine going up against guerrillas, where, we figured out in Panama, you just send Delta in, and you match the guerrilla tactics with supreme weaponry and training, and you could really take care of business instead of sending the entire freaking, But, okay, bodies fill the fields I see, hungry heroes end. That's a crazy line, hungry heroes end.
Is hungry as in, literally hungry?
Could be, because he's out of rations, but it could also be, maybe this guy signed up for glory. So he's hungry for glory, A lot of young men join military for that reason. Yeah. For glory. But it's interesting, he's sort of this, omnipresent narrator. Bodies fill the fields I see, hungry heroes end. Oh yeah. No one to place. There used to be this comic book character, I forgot the guy's name. It's in the DC universe. My DC nerds, help a brother out. But he he was kind of like this almost divine being, and he was like watched everybody. I think his name was like the Watcher or something like that, which is kind of crazy.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the guy's name was the Watcher, and like he would watch everybody, and then he would talk, and he would basically narrate these stories and whatever. It was a very interesting.
Really?
Yeah, it was a very interesting comic series. But anyway,
Was he a good guy?
he
Or
wasn't
bad?
good or bad. He was
Oh.
just watching everybody.
Okay.
No one to play soldier now. No one to pretend. That's interesting because it's a kid. You know, you
Yep.
play.
Yep.
You play soldier. Every kid does. I wonder. I read this article one time after 9/11, and it was this woman talking about her son. They were in the middle of like a European Walmart. I don't know what that is, and her son like took a piece of gum and like made a gun out of it, and then everybody in the store turned and looked at this kid like horrified. And then she said something like, basically how she was ashamed of her kid. Basically, she was saying that, like, the gun culture in America, the shit that we say, oh, it's normal for kids to grow up and, you know, normal for little kids to play cops and robbers and make guns out of their hands. Like, she was basically making the point, no, it's not. All these European people were horrified. So I don't know, but I have no idea. But, you know, no one to play soldier now, no one to pretend.
I would think that if your father had been through, Vietnam or something like that, that he wouldn't have wanted his sons. When he came back, he wouldn't want his sons to play war. He probably would have said, let's just do something else.
I mean, I don't know. You know, because, you know, that dude, that Delta guy that we were watching, he was talking about, he's like a third generation, you know, warrior. I mean, a lot of these guys, Jamie is like a second generation Marine, you know, like a lot of these guys, I don't know, running blind through killing fields, bred to kill them all. Now, so the first, in the opening stanza of the first verse, it says running blind, and then later on in the song he says, you blind man, blind how? Like, did he get hit in the head?
Right.
Got hit in the eye?
Or get blind because he has to listen to
Is he
everything
blind?
he said. He can't think for himself.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any direction.
Right.
I was thinking about Matthew Axelson. He got hit in the head. One of the four guys in the whole lone survivor thing, and he was basically blind
Yeah.
the last couple hours of his life. But he still had to fight. But I mean, can you imagine like being blind in a war zone and there's bullets going everywhere? Like,
Nope, I can't.
that's terrible. Victim of what said should be a servant until I fall. So the people above you made a decree, and now you're a public servant.
Yep.
You know, like you're
Such a strange thing.
you're like dehumanized. You become a slave. Back to the front. You will do what I say when I say back to the front. You will. That's one of the craziest choruses of all time. You will die when I say you must die. Back to the front.
That's ridiculous.
You coward, you servant, you blind man. Yeah. That word coward is so interesting.
Why?
Well, because I'm just thinking about the Bible, where it was like, it doesn't use the word coward, but it basically says if you're fearful, then go home
Yeah.
and don't go fight. Whereas, normally with us, it was basically if you signed up, that's it. You're committed, period. And so then the term coward gets weaponized to keep you
Yep.
in the situation where you have to go and perform and fight, even whether or
Yeah.
not you can do it. But then, of course, if you run away and you come back home and you make it home safe, and then everybody in the community calls you a coward. Well, easy for you to say. You've never strapped a weapon on. You've never seen your friends die. You've never had to kill.
Yeah.
You've never
Yeah,
had to
for
kill
sure.
someone. So that you use the term coward is used as basically a tool of manipulation to get people to kill and to
Yeah.
die.
Because who's the bigger coward? The one that goes and turns away, or the one that never goes?
Right, or the conscientious objector who's goes to a village in Vietnam and sees that a bunch of civilians are being killed and says, "I can't do this." They call that guy a coward too. You know what I mean? So like the term coward gets weaponized so that it's a form. But this is one of the themes about me is like the power that we pour into words, and it's crazy to me that there have been probably thousands of young men who've literally died because of that one word.
Right.
You know, there's that story, which is really a big propaganda piece, but you know, the Red Badge of Courage.
Uh-huh.
And it's a soldier, and the battle got hectic, and he runs away, and then the whole story is about him redeeming himself and all this.
Oh, really?
But the whole message is don't be a fucking coward. You know, don't leave the battlefield.
Uh-huh.
And I think the biblical solution is better. If you're the type of person that's fearful at the sight of blood, even if you signed up, just turn around and go home.
Right.
That settles a lot of things, and it also creates a situation where like nobody in the crew has to worry about whether or not you're gonna be able to play ball when it's time to fight. You know, and we had those situations, not in a war zone, but like, you know, in the neighborhood where you had to go do violence. You had people who were, you know, we talked about this in the other one.
Right.
The kid runs away and everybody is mad at him, and you just say, you know, we shouldn't have put him in that situation. So it's like, okay, like that guy, make him a typist or something. You know, jihad is not for him.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
Right. Right.
Sounding of the clock that ticks, get used to it somehow. That's a crazy one.
The sounding of the clock that ticks.
Well, every
I
second
don't
somebody
understand.
dies.
Is that what it's meaning?
I think that's what it is. Like your time is running out, but you get used to the concept that your time is running out.
Oh my gosh.
You know, in Band of Brothers, where people are saying it's just a matter of time. Because when you're out there fighting and the dude next to you gets hit, and the only reason he got hit and you didn't was because he was there for that particular, it's just, it was his time. And you just realize that it's inevitable. You're going to die. A lot of these guys don't believe they're going to make it back home.
Right.
So, more man, more stripes you wear. It's a good one.
Yeah. Glory seekers trends.
Yeah.
There's all these trends that go on, and you wear this, that, and then like a glory seeker, their trend is more stripes.
Yeah, like the clothing. You know, like these clothing is such a huge status symbol. And Robert, I think his name is Robert Gross, I'm pretty sure is his name. And he wrote this book called On Killing. It's about killology. And he was talking about the psychology of killing and on the individual and on the community, and how, you know, the awards and things like that are given not as like this macho status symbol, but to offset the guilt and the pain and the cognitive dissonance that happens as a human being that has to kill another member of your species. Whether you take a biblical view of it, which is you don't want to kill that guy because he's another image bearer of God, or you take an evolutionary perspective, which is you don't want to kill that guy because he's another member of your species and it's the most anti-Darwinian thing to do. Either way, you have this horrible cognitive dissonance with killing someone. And so what human beings have done is we've said, okay, we as a society are going to reward you for killing other human beings in order to offset that pain and cognitive dissonance that you feel.
Yeah.
So it was never meant to get metastasized into a status symbol of masculinity. It was basically there to offset the pain that you would feel.
Do you think that part of the reason why, like he said, like where he's told throughout this whole thing what to do, and he has to listen to his orders, do you think that also offsets some of the guilt? I was just doing what I was told to do.
Well, it's a famous quote in the Nuremberg trials where they caught these Nazis, and the Jews were giving these just horrible, terrible descriptions of what the fuck went on in these concentration camps. You know, you march this woman off with her child, an iconic picture, this woman with a child, and the Nazi going, you know.
Yeah.
And so basically all these testimonies are coming, so then these Nazis get up there and they're testifying, and basically the prosecutor said, what the fuck do you have to say for yourself? And the Nazi goes, hey,
I was just following orders.
I was following orders.
Yeah.
One of Trump's people said that today. The ICE guy, he said, hey, we can't be wrong because we can't be Nazis because we were just following orders, which of course everybody jumped on that on Facebook because that's literally what the fucking and I'm not saying that Trump,
even Christian women, I'll hear them say stuff like that. Well, I was just doing what my husband said, and it absolves them of all thinking, from any thinking that they should do on their own for themselves, to be their own person and to do whatever it is that God wants them to do personally.
Yeah.
My husband doesn't.
Ask the Fira how that turned out. Were you just where God's like,
Right.
oh, that's cool. You just followed your husband
Right.
like a lemming, like a sheep. Yeah.
Right.
Spoiler, God sniped the both of them. That's New Testament God, by the way.
Snipe them, but they both died.
That's a good point, though. It's like this whole, like, oh yeah, just follow orders. Like this blind, obedience.
Yeah.
We had a situation today with the kids where one of the parents made a decree and the kids felt like God was telling them to do something else.
Yep.
And, then there was like a parental, sidebar discussion because there was, one parent was saying, they disobeyed me. And the other parent was saying, well, yeah, but, which is a bigger commandment, love your neighbor or obey your mother and father. But it's just, we don't teach the kids to just blindly follow orders. Like,
We decided it was love your neighbor. More than honor your father and mother.
yeah, we called the kids down and said, you guys called the right play, you did the right thing. We gave you the wrong instruction, and we're glad you listened to God instead of
Proud
us.
of you, etc.
We're proud of you. Although, we did say next time, here's a better way to, go about it.
Right.
We all learn it. But the point is, like, you can't teach. But see, this is the thing, like, from childhood, a lot of parents are taught to teach their kids to just be awesome lemmings. And it's like, it's easier to parent that way.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Like, because you don't have to think as a leader of these kids.
Right.
But like you can look at this song and go, this is fucked up shit. Like this kid he's got no life of his own, no thought, no autonomy of his own. But at the same time, it's like, okay, like, what are you as a parent doing to encourage free thinking in the mind of your child?
Right.
What if your child disagrees with your decree?
Right.
Because this kid is 21 years old. So he's had, what, okay, let's say he made it out of the house at 18, which probably is not true, but let's say he made it. So he's had 18 years of just do what I tell you to do. Because that's the role of a father, in a lot of, like, these 1950s type, families. It's like what the father says goes, and you don't question anything. So, he spent 18 years just with this unquestioning obedience to his dad. Then he gets handed over. Let's say he's 18, 19 years old. He graduates basic, and then boom, he's in jihad. Well, he's just going to listen to this unquestioning.
When is this kid ever going to think for himself?
Right. Like, doesn't have the chance. He's 21 years, he's done. So it's like, it's always that's the function
It's
of
interesting too that if he came from a family dynamic system where the father constantly told him what to do, and then he went straight from that to the military. It might have been part of the reason why he chose the military was it was another structured system, like
absolutely,
where
absolutely
it was what he was used to.
Yeah, and that's why
Had he been free thinking and he knew I'm going to be walking through bodies. There's going to be a field. I'm going to be taught not to care, like it's saying in the song. I'm just going to body people, and I'm going to have to not care about it. Like, maybe he wouldn't have made that choice. I don't know.
Yeah, and then you get guys like, oh, it's funny because I've talked to a lot of special forces guys in my life, and they're all the same way. A lot of them are like, they like to fight, but they also were very, very intelligent people. And so the regular military, which was, look, when you're commanding 20,000 people, you kind of need that unquestioning, okay, we're going this way.
Yeah.
You can't have 20,000 fucking opinions. But when you're in special forces, it's different because, or when you're in DevGru or a special whatever. It's much, much smaller. So then
allotted some freedom to be able to make some decisions.
Well, not even allotted. They're expected. Like, here's a problem. You guys get together and solve it, and that's it. And then boom, see ya. And a lot of those guys are function a lot better that way because And then you got guys like Marcinko who just took that to the extreme. Anyway, different discussion, but yeah, like, it's one of those things where it's a necessary evil, though, in the military, because there's 300 million plus Americans in the world. I mean, in America, and so you've got a very big fighting force, and you've got to get them to accomplish a goal in all these different branches of the military, including now the Space Force. And And so, on the one hand, if you have somebody that has a different opinion in the middle of a firefight, people die. That's the other side of it. You know, so it's like this song is like pointing out the bad side of what happens when you just, you know, unquestion him. And who's to say that this is actually the wrong thing to do? Like this general or this commander that's sending this kid to the front to die. Who's to say that that's the wrong thing to do? What if that was an important hill?
Right.
What if that was D-Day?
Right.
Because I mean,
you can't have everybody abandoning the front. You're gonna have no front.
Yeah. If this was D-Day, guess what? You have to storm that beach, motherfucker. That's it. That's it. You have to. There's no choice. And you know that you're sending this 21-year-old kid to his death. But he had to die because those people...
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine being the person that says back to the front.
Yeah, you gotta go.
I wouldn't be able to live with myself after...
Yeah, there's this guy, we were soldiers once. I forgot the name of the guy, but a lot of his kids, a lot of the kids that he was in command over died. And he
couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
And he went out, like, I read biography, like, he went out and, like, put himself in situations where it was almost guaranteed he was going to die. And he never did.
It doesn't matter, though, I don't think. I think that the fact that you were the one that said you got to do this, and the person died, that would be tough to live with.
Yeah, it's that quote in Black Hawk Down, you know, where, you know, Hoot is talking to... this young, you know, Ranger battalion leader, and he's young, and he's like, Hoot is like this Delta guy, is Norm Hooten, you know, he's Delta, so he's had a lot of experience in all this, and he's smoking before he, you know, he goes to suit up and get on the little bird, and then this Eversman is like, I want to do it right, I want to do this, I want to do that, and Hoot's like, man, just stay in your section, watch your corner, make sure all your men get home safe. Don't worry about all the politics and all that shit. Make sure all your men get home safe. Of course, that didn't happen. 18 of those guys died, you know. But yeah, it's one of those things where the commander here is demonized. He's kind of like, you look at him like he's the bad guy, you know. But at the same time, it's like, what if this guy is the real victim? What if the commander is the real victim in the whole situation? Because he's getting placed in this fucking impossible... Because, like, it depends on which war, right? Because literally in World War II, like, literally the fate of the world was in your hands. Like, this is not like, you know, the fate of the world's in your hands, so what are you going to do? You're going to let your feelings for this 21-year-old kid... you know, impede the fact that we have to defeat these Nazis.
I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
You know, so maybe we've been, you know, maybe this whole song is being misinterpreted. Like, oh yeah, that guy, you know, the kid is the problem, or the kid is the victim. You know, when in reality, it's the commander who ends up really being the victim because he has to do something that he has to live with for the rest of his life.
Did you think the part where it says "soldier boy made of clay"? Like, you usually think of soldiers, they're strong, they're you know, they follow everything, they're like whatever. But he's made of clay, and like he's like who? You're scrolling too fast. What?
Soldier boy made of clay, now an empty shell. 21, only son, but he served us well.
Like, I wonder if that's if they're saying it or if he's saying it because he feels it, you know. And yeah, soldier boy made of clay.
Well, I think
you know what I'm saying?
I think this is America saying this to this kid.
That he's made of clay? Why would
that the whole pre-chorus? Because it says, "Do just as we say."
He served us well.
But he served us well.
Yeah.
So this is his country saying, you know, he's made of clay. But the other thing is, clay is really cheap. It's fragile and it's cheap.
Yep.
You know, that's why it says disposable heroes.
Yep.
Because on the one hand, like, these people's lives are cheap to us. Like, oh, another dead soldier, Arlington, yeah. But then we make heroes out of them. But, you know, if we really valued them, then we would be less quick to send them over to war.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
And we'll be quick to bring them home.
Yeah. Yeah. But, anyway, good song. I give it a 10. I've been giving out...
wouldn't involve them in oil.
I've been giving out way too many 10s, but this song is just a fucking classic song, man.
Yeah.
God almighty.
Yeah, I can see that.
And there's just Hammett's solo was insane.
Yeah, it was.
Lars's drumming was insane. There's a lot of subtle, nuanced differences between verses in that drumming that Lars did.
You know what? I'm pretty sure I said this on one of the other Metallica songs that I like the drumming. So I think I must like him as a drummer.
Yeah, well, in Puppets, I mean, he was a bad man. He was a bad man. I want to, like, play this live to see if they can pull this off live. I always wonder, like, songs that are this incredible, can you pull it off live?
I bet they can.
But everybody talks about One, and One is a great song, but I think that this song is way better than One.
Oh.
But I think One. I think we'll do One at some point. But I think that One is more dynamic and it goes different places musically than this one. Obviously, this one is just straight. We're heavy metal. We're gonna make this the heaviest fucking song of all time. Period. Point blank. In subject matter and in musicianship.
Yeah.
And like after this song, there is no band ever on the face of the earth again that can claim that they make heavy music. Period. That's it. 10. What do you give it?
I think I'd give it a 10. It wouldn't be a song that I'd be like, I'm gonna go in the car and play that. But I definitely think it was a really good song, and the musicianship was amazing, and everything was just really great about it. The drumming, I think I'm gonna give it a 10 because I really think that they did a 10 job.
You better, because you gave Cowboys from Hell a 10. So.
And Cowboys from Hell was really fun.
If she gives this a 9, but Cowboys from Hell a 10, we're gonna have a problem. Okay, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.